You want to know what terror really feels like? It's not the movies. It's not some masked man chasing you through a dark house. It's not even the moment you think you're going to die. Terror is sitting at your kitchen table at 7 o'clock in the morning, drinking coffee that's gone cold, watching your wife of 12 years walk into the room with a smile on her face, the same smile she's had since the day you met her, and realizing that smile means absolutely nothing anymore. Because you know what she knows, and she knows that you know she knows. And the silence between you is louder than any screaming match could ever be. I'm Mark. I'm 58 years old. I'm American. And 6 months ago, I made the worst mistake of my entire life. Now, before I tell you what happened, before I tell you what she did, I need you to understand something about my wife, Liza. She's not what you'd expect from a woman from the Philippines. She didn't come from poverty. She wasn't looking for a green card. Her family had money. Her father was a doctor. Her mother was a college professor. Liza had a degree in accounting. She had a good job. She could have married anyone. She chose me. And God help me, I didn't deserve her. I met Liza 12 years ago in Cebu City. I was 46. I'd just gone through a divorce. My ex-wife had cleaned me out pretty good. House gone, savings gone. I was living in a cheap apartment in Lahu, nursing my wounds, trying to figure out what the hell I was going to do with the rest of my life. And then I met her. She was working at a coffee shop near Ayala Mall. I was the lonely foreigner who came in every morning and ordered the same thing: black coffee, no sugar, no cream. She remembered my order after the 3rd day. She remembered my name after the 5th. She asked me about my day, not because she had to, but because she actually wanted to know. That's what got me. She actually cared. We started talking, then dating. Then, after a year, we got married. It was a small wedding. Her family was there. My family couldn't afford to fly over from the States. It didn't matter. I'd never been happier. She was everything. Patient, kind, funny in that quiet way where you don't realize she's joking until 2 minutes later. She made me want to be a better man. And I repaid her by being the worst kind of man there is. The thing about living in the Philippines is that the beer is cheap, the weather is warm, and there are places you can go where nobody knows your name. And if you're the kind of man who's got a hole in his soul that he can't seem to fill, those places start looking real tempting. I'm not going to make excuses. I'm not going to say it was the culture shock or the midlife crisis or the fact that I felt invisible. I cheated because I was weak, because I was bored, because somewhere along the line, I stopped appreciating what I had and started wanting something that wasn't mine. It started small. I'd go out with the guys, other expats mostly. We'd meet at a sports bar in Mango Avenue, drink a few San Miguels, complain about the traffic, reminisce about things we missed from home. And then someone would say, "Hey, let's go to a bar." Not a regular bar, a different kind of bar. The kind of bar with girls. The kind of bar where the girls sit on your lap and call you sir and make you feel like you're somebody, even though you're just another aging foreigner with a wallet. I went the first time just to see what it was like. I told myself I was just curious, just being a tourist. Not a big deal. I didn't touch anyone. I didn't even talk to any of the girls. I just sat there, nursing my beer, watching the whole thing unfold like a circus performance. But I went back the next week, and the week after that. And then I started talking to them. Just talking. Just buying them drinks. Just being friendly. It wasn't cheating, right? It was just conversation. That's what I told myself. That's what every man tells himself right before he crosses a line he can't uncross. Her name was Grace. She was 24 years old. She'd been working in bars since she was 19. She had a child back in the province. A little boy she was supporting on her own. She said she'd come to Cebu to find work, and this was the only work she could find that paid enough. She was pretty. No, she was beautiful. Not in the way Liza was beautiful. Liza's beauty was warm, familiar, the kind that makes you feel safe. Grace's beauty was sharp, dangerous. She had a smile that made you forget your own name. She was also a liar. But I didn't know that then. We started meeting. Not at the bar, not where anyone could see us. She'd text me, tell me she wanted to talk. We'd meet at a coffee shop or a park. And yeah, it was more than just talking. I told myself it didn't mean anything. That it was just physical. That it didn't affect how I felt about Liza. I was lying. Every time I came home from seeing Grace, I'd look at Liza and see the same trusting, loving expression on her face. And I'd feel a small pang of guilt, but then I'd push it down. She'll never find out, I told myself. It's not hurting anyone. And besides, she doesn't really understand me. She doesn't know what it's like to be me. That's how I justified it. I was pathetic. You know what's funny about being a cheater? You think you're so smart. You think you're so careful. You think you've covered every track. But the truth is, you're a fool. A blind, arrogant fool who can't see the disaster barreling toward him. Liza found out on a Tuesday. I remember the exact date, July 18th. I was supposed to meet Grace at a hotel near the airport. Nothing fancy, just a place where nobody would ask questions. I'd told Liza I was meeting an old friend from the States who was passing through. She didn't suspect anything. She'd made me a sandwich before I left, egg salad, my favorite. She'd kissed me on the cheek. She'd said, "Come home early, I'll cook something special for dinner." I felt a twinge of guilt when I said, "I will." And then I went to the hotel. Here's the thing about Grace that I hadn't figured out yet. She wasn't just a bar girl looking for extra money. She was a grifter, a professional. She'd been doing this for years, finding lonely expats, giving them a few months of attention, and then squeezing them for everything they had. But I didn't know that. All I knew was that she was beautiful, and she made me feel young, and she never asked me about my marriage or my life or anything real. The hotel was called the Airport View Hotel. Cheap, clean, anonymous. We were in the room for maybe an hour. Grace was in the bathroom when I heard something that made my blood go cold. A knock on the door. Not the polite knock of hotel staff. Not the friendly knock of someone who doesn't know what's going on inside. It was a hard knock, insistent. A knock that meant business. I opened the door. And there, standing in the hallway, was Liza. She wasn't crying. She wasn't screaming. She was completely, terrifyingly calm. "Pack your things," she said. "We're going home." I opened my mouth to explain, to lie, to do whatever it took to undo what she'd clearly already figured out. She held up her hand. Just one hand. And I stopped. "I know everything," she said. "I've known for 2 months. I was waiting to see how far it would go. You just showed me." Behind me, I heard Grace leave the bathroom. I heard her gasp. And then I heard her say something that I'll never forget. She's not angry." Liza smiled. It was the coldest smile I'd ever seen. "I've been angry, Grace. For 2 months I've been angry. But now I'm just curious." She looked past me at Grace, and then she said 5 words that changed everything. "How much do you want?" I didn't understand what was happening. I honestly thought I was having a stroke or a heart attack or some kind of waking nightmare. But Liza just stood there, calm as could be, looking at Grace like she was nothing more than an inconvenience. Grace, for her part, looked terrified. Whatever she'd been expecting from a wife who'd just found her husband cheating, it wasn't this. Liza repeated herself. "How much do you want to go back to your province? To leave Cebu and never come back? To forget you ever met my husband?" Grace just stared at her. "I'm offering you a way out," Liza said. "I know you have a child. I know you send money home. I know this job isn't what you wanted. So let me help you." I don't understand," Grace stammered. Liza pulled out her phone. She showed Grace something on the screen. I couldn't see it from where I was standing, but Grace's face went pale. "I have your son's school address," Liza said softly. "I have his picture. I have his teacher's name. I have a lot of things, Grace, and I can do a lot of things with that information." Grace started crying. Real tears, the first ones I'd ever seen from her. Liza put her phone away. "I'm not threatening you. I'm giving you a choice. Take the money, go home, start over. Or stay here, keep doing what you're doing, and see what happens." Grace made her decision in about 3 seconds. "I'll go," she whispered. "I'll go today." Liza nodded. "Good. I'll have the money in your bank account by tomorrow. But if you ever come back to Cebu, if you ever contact my husband again, I will find you. And I will make your life a living nightmare." She said it so calmly, so matter-of-factly, that I had absolutely no doubt she meant every word. The drive back to our apartment was the longest ride of my life. Liza didn't say a single word. She didn't look at me. She just drove, her hands steady on the wheel, her face completely unreadable. When we got home, she finally spoke. "Sit." She pointed at the dining table. I sat. She walked to the kitchen, made herself a cup of tea, and then sat down across from me. She looked me in the eyes for the first time since the hotel. "Here's what's going to happen," she said. "You're going to listen. You're not going to speak. And when I'm done, you're going to decide if you want to stay or if you want to leave. Either way, I'll be fine." I nodded. I couldn't speak anyway. My throat was so tight I could barely breathe. "When I found out you were cheating," she said, "I was devastated. Not because you hurt me. I expected that. I knew you were a broken man when I married you. I knew you had your demons. What I didn't expect was how boring you'd be about it." I blinked. "Boring? Don't interrupt." I shut my mouth. "Your mistress," Liza continued, "is a 24-year-old bar girl with a child and a gambling problem. She chose you because you have money and no backbone. She's been sleeping with 3 other men this entire time. 1 Australian, 1 German, and a Filipino businessman who pays her rent. You were not special. You were convenient." I felt like I'd been punched. "I've known about Grace for 2 months," Liza said. "I've known about the hotel. I've known about the texts. I've known everything. And I waited, because I wanted to see how long it would take you to stop, but you never did." She took a sip of her tea. "I also wanted to give Grace a way out, because as much as I hate what she did, she's still a person. She's still someone's mother. And believe it or not, I have more compassion for her than I have for you right now." She set down her cup. "So here's the deal. I'm not leaving. This is my house, my life, my country. If you want to leave, go. I'll have your stuff packed by the morning. But if you want to stay, you're going to have to earn it." She stood up. "Starting tomorrow, you're going to go to therapy. Real therapy. Not a priest, not a pastor, not your drunk expat friends. A real psychiatrist who deals with addiction and impulse control. You're going to do the work. You're going to figure out why you did this. And then you're going to fix it." She paused. "And one more thing. Every Sunday, you're going to volunteer at the community center with the kids. You're going to be useful. You're going to give back. You're going to remember that there are people in this world who actually need help, not just your pathetic ego." Those were the rules. She made me sound like a child, and honestly, I deserved it. But here's the thing. I thought I understood her. I thought I knew my wife. What happened next? What Liza did next? That's when I realized I'd never known her at all. I did what she said. I went to therapy. I started volunteering at the community center. I even cut back on the drinking. For the first few weeks, I thought Liza had won. She'd saved our marriage, humbled me, and set things right. Then I came home one evening and found her on the phone. She was speaking Cebuano, her voice low and intense. When she saw me, she hung up immediately. "Who was that?" I asked. Nobody, she said. I should have let it go, but something about her tone made me push. Liza, who was that? She looked at me for a long moment, then she smiled. That same cold smile from the hotel. You want to know who that was, Mark? That was Grace's brother. I froze. What? You heard me. I stayed in contact with him. He's been telling me things, Mark. Things that might interest you. Like what? She didn't go back to her province, Liza said. She just moved to Manila. She's working at another bar, and she's been telling everyone what happened. How you were the dumb American with the fat wallet who couldn't keep his pants zipped. She's been laughing about you for weeks. I felt sick. Why are you telling me this? Because I wanted to see how long it would take for the truth to bother you. And Mark, that's not the worst part. She pulled out her phone and showed me a screen. It was a message. A long, detailed message in Cebuano. I couldn't read it. What is this? This is a message I sent to Grace's brother. It says that if Grace ever mentions your name again, if she ever breathes a word about you to anyone, I will make sure she never works in this country again. I have connections, Mark. My family has connections. One phone call and she's blacklisted from every bar, every club, every hotel in Cebu. And she knows it. I stared at her. Liza, you're scaring me. She put her phone down and walked toward me. She placed her hands on my shoulders, gently, almost lovingly. Good, she whispered. You should be scared. You should be very, very scared. Because I'm not done yet. She kissed my forehead. Just a peck. I'm going to make sure that every time you think about cheating, you remember tonight. You remember that I'm not some desperate, naive woman who needs a man to survive. I'm not your victim. I'm your partner, and partners hold each other accountable. She walked away, but turned back at the door. Go to bed, Mark. We have a long month ahead. That was 6 months ago, and I've been walking on eggshells ever since. But here's the thing about walking on eggshells. Eventually, you stop worrying about the shells and start worrying about what might come next. Because I've learned something about Liza over the past year. She's not just smart, she's brilliant. She's not just patient, she's strategic. And she doesn't just win the game, she rewrites the rules. Case in point, yesterday, I came home from therapy and found her at the kitchen table with a stack of papers. I asked what she was doing. This is our new budget, she said. I'm moving all our joint accounts into separate accounts. You'll get an allowance. I'll manage the rest. Why? Because you can't be trusted. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But if we're going to make this work, I need to know you can't destroy me financially like you tried to destroy me emotionally. I didn't argue. She'd given me 2,000 pesos a week for spending money, about $35, and a debit card with a 500 peso daily limit. It was humiliating. But here's the truth. I don't care anymore. Because something happened during these past 6 months. I started going to therapy. I started volunteering with the kids. I started actually connecting with people. Not because Liza made me, but because I wanted to. And somewhere along the way, I realized she was right about everything. I was broken. I was selfish. I was a bad man who had a good woman, and I nearly threw it all away. So here I am, 58 years old, living in Cebu, with 500 pesos a day to my name, volunteering at a community center, and trying to be a decent human being. My wife didn't leave me. She didn't kick me out. She didn't even publicly shame me. She fixed me. But before you think I'm making excuses for her, or for myself, let me be clear about something else. Liza is still watching. She's always watching. She doesn't trust me. She's made that abundantly clear. And I honestly don't know if she ever will again. Maybe she shouldn't. But here's the part that keeps me up at night. About a week ago, I was cleaning the apartment, and I found her journal. I know I shouldn't have read it. I did anyway. And here's what she wrote. Under a date marked a year ago, long before she found out about Grace. Mark is restless. I see it in his eyes. He's looking for something he can't find with me. I give him 2 years before he tries something foolish. I hope he proves me wrong, but if he doesn't, I have a plan. I always have a plan. A year ago, she knew. She'd always known. And she let me hang myself anyway. That, right there, is the scariest thing of all. I thought I was being clever. I thought I was pulling one over on her. All along, she was just letting me dig my own grave. Because she knew that eventually, I'd fall in. And then she'd be there to pull me out. Not because she needed me. Not because she couldn't survive without me, but because she loved me anyway. And that kind of love, the kind that sees you at your absolute worst and still chooses to stay, is terrifying. Because what does that say about me? What does it say that she had to break me to fix me? I don't have the answers. I'm still in therapy. I'm still figuring out why I did what I did. But I know one thing for sure. I'll never cheat on my wife again. Not because I'm a good man, not because I've changed, but because I've seen what happens when a woman like Liza sets her mind to something. And I know that if I ever try anything again, she'll already be 10 steps ahead of me.